Brains are needed for this Nuzlocke, in the essence of my psychics and my usual stupidity. Hey, what's up everyone? Jukem here with a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokémon Pearl using only Psychic-type Pokémon. Psychics are known for their special attacking prowess, and while this is the generation where the physical special split made its debut, this is still mostly the case for our 7 Pokémon. Huh. It's really more like 6.5. Yeah, so I'm a bit insane here. This was a challenge I thought about for a while, and it's one that can seem to be too tough early on. We'll find out why soon enough, but as for the rules of this challenge, you can see those on screen right now. While letting the rules sink in, this is a good time to explain that to have challenge runs like these not be such a bore for me when preparing for bosses, I'm performing some dirty business on my special DS. Not dirty in the sense of cheating, but just to speed some things up. I'll mention those methods whenever they're relevant, and do note that they'll most likely be things I do in future runs so that I can make these videos consistently. But let's get started. I'm psyched to see what we can do. After watching the news of a very obvious Gold and Silver remake hint that I did not realize until just now, my rival Toichi and I decided it's a perfect idea to sightsee Gyarados in our local lake without parental supervision or a Pokemon. Once we luckily get attacked by iconic crying birds instead, we can choose our starter, but none of them are available to us. Still, I picked Turtwig so Toichi can have something weak to Psychic later on. Afterward, there's a lot of monologuing about how this Turtwig is surprisingly attached to me despite knowing me for a total of 5 minutes. Parasocial turtles deserve to be benched, since Route 203 is where we can capture our real starter of the run, Abra. For those who are curious as to why I'm not playing Platinum, a TM for Hidden Power can be found in the Trainer School only in Diamond and Pearl. Abra is the only Psychic type before Rourke, so it's impossible in Platinum as we'd only have a useless teleport. We need the right Hidden Power for Abra to fight Rourke, along with decent special attack IVs, preferably level 4 for more EV training before hitting the level cap, and a nature that doesn't reduce special attack or speed. It's a tall order, and originally, I was going to manipulate the game through a special DS app called PKX, where I'd slightly altered the stats to be worse, but in a way to have a stronger hidden power. However, that wasn't necessary. On the 5th Abra caught, not found mind you cause teleport, I got just what I needed. 22 IVs and special attack, no hindering nature, hidden power steal, and he was level 4. Hidden power was a meek 40 base power, which is but I didn't want to waste a Twisted Spoon that the same Abra was holding onto. If I had to catch another Abra, I would have thrown it away, but I wanted to keep it due to the sheer luck of everything that occurred on my 5th catch alone. You're our starter, Mob. I'm counting on you. The true start to attempt 1 begins. And it's time for more explaining. Mob is fairly weak. Hidden Power Steal won't OHKO either Onix or Cranidos, but what we can do is maximize our odds of success. By calculating the amount of EXP gained from the lowest level Badoo and Kricketot available, we'll have 8 EVs in special attack and 72 in defense. This will give us a 75% chance to one-shot Onix and guarantee survival against any of Cranidos' attacks so long as they don't crit, even Pursuit. Also, this was part of the PKX speedup thing I brought up. I really didn't want to search for and defeat all those lowest leveled Pokemon, so I added the EVs and EXP through the special app in a legal manner, reaching just shy of level 15 as per the level cap. Don't want to simply add 252 special attack or something when that's not feasibly possible. Plus there are 0 mandatory trainers until Rourke from this point, so there's no worries for having unoptimal EVs. I did fact check to see if we could defeat a Badoo with Hidden Power Steal and level up before manually adding the rest of the EVs, which was scary with high leveled Starly around, but we managed. All in all, we have a legitimate Abra with the EVs that may pull us through our first gym battle. Rourke is sturdy, but we'll pulverize everything he sends our way with the power of steel. He leads with his Geodude as Mob teleports onto the scene. This dude was always gonna go down to a hidden power, so there goes Rourke's first Pokemon. And then a surprise occurs in Cranidos coming through second. I forgot they don't have to send their aces out last in this game, which kind of sucks. I wanted the last 2 defense EVs to come from Geodude and Onix. We were really only at 70 EVs when the battle began due to EXP management. Could have gotten 71 EVs, but I thought it would be cool to take down both Pokemon, but that's clearly biting me right now. Still, Mob is very likely to survive a hit. I believe in him. I knew the kid had it in him. Mob has hit 100% luck. And since he's undamaged, Rourke's Onix can't possibly knock him out. This is incredible, because despite all my luck thus far, Mob still rolled a 25% chance to miss the KO. But Onix screeches anyway. Mob leads us to victory with one last hidden power, surviving the first gym completely damageless. You know, if everyone is not special, I still think I know who I want to be. And absolute mad lad who will probably have to defend himself about hacking, but I swear, this is just how my luck be. Anyway, that's our first badge, and the EXP from the battle allows Mob to evolve into Kadabra. Then one trade on my special DS grants Mob a second spoon for all the ice cream I'm giving him. Alakazam will be tearing it up, even against Team Galactic's Mars. Inner Focus, something I also aimed for and got because of course I did, would have helped with Peruglu's fake-out shenanigans if she went for it. We then arrive at Eterna City, where close by are two more encounters. These would be Suchiya the Meditite on Route 211, and Mukai the Chingling at Mount Coronet. They'll be on standby for now as we take on Gardenia's grass types. Mob soloing through every mon before the gym means we can't EV train much more, so there are worries when it comes to status moves wearing him down when he can't get a one-shot. Not much we can do, but do our best. Gardenia first brings out Cherubi as we send out Mob. We Confusion turn 1, but with its weak base power, Cherubi barely hangs on and retaliates with Grass Knot for a 6th of Mob's health. Can't utilize that great special attack set yet if we can't have a good move for it, so that's annoying, along with Gardenia's Super Potion use. Another Confusion puts her back where she belongs, and then we finish her off with a final Confusion the following turn. Second up is Turtwig. Mob still doesn't like using his powers on others, so Confusion yet again misses the KO, but Turtwig just sets up a harmless Reflect. Gardenia just wastes her final Super Potion next turn, and we have a repeat of Cherubi, knocking Turtwig out with 2 more Confusions. We are now in the clear, since Gardenia's Ace Roserade is weak to Psychic attacks, going down in a single Confusion, earning us our second badge. Afterward is our first battle with Jupiter, with a threatening Dark-type Skuntank as her powerhouse. But some EVs in attack and speed and a high level let Suchiya outspeed Zubat for the one-shot via Confusion and bring down Skuntank with 2 Force Palms, only suffering passive damage from Poison Gas. Afterward, Route 206 is home to our defensive behemoth of Psychics, Teru the Bronzor. And before reaching our next gym, it's good to take note of our received Explorers Kit from Eterna City and the Berry Master on Route 208. Through these two sources of gathering items, we logically have an infinite amount of money without it being attached to EXP via trainers. That means I don't have to worry about level caps when grinding for money. And because I want to play as optimal as possible without spending 5 whole lifetimes, I did give myself infinite money for shopping sprees, along with all these berries listed here. Pokemon Nuzlocks are a lot about the strats, so speeding things along here is a-okay for my enjoyment in this challenge. Hope y'all are fine with that, but comment below your thoughts. I'm curious. And while we're here, let me know for the question of the day what your favorite Psychic type is. Weirder is a new pick for my favorite Psychic. This dumb, stupid deer. He's so majestic. Just as majestic as you guys if you subscribe to the channel. Always appreciate the support, but either way, let us continue. It's Heart Home time. Kinda, not really. Something else I appreciate about playing the OG Sinnoh games for our Psychics is that we're held off from fighting Fantina until we have 4 badges, giving us time to catch more team members, evolve, and gain better options for dealing with our ghost types. That means it's Route 209 time instead, where we get us a new encounter. Is what I would say if we were playing on Diamond instead. Short story, I lost my Pearl game as a kid and only had Platinum and Diamond, which is why I am playing it now here to feel a sense of fulfillment. But Mime Jr. and Mr. Mime are version exclusives, and I never checked until just now, meaning our limited selection of Pokemon just became even more limited. The Trophy Garden where it can be found in Pearl is post-game, and I refuse to switch games if it means I have to get lucky with Abra all over again. So yeah. At least we catch an unknown in Solaceon Ruins, and it's the F. Wow, okay, game. You don't have to rub it in. Kaito, you don't have your brother, so just stand idly by as the rest of our espers do the work. This has just been the section of information dumps, so apologies. Moving on quickly, Mukai evolves into Chimecho. This brings us to our next gym battles against Maylene and Wake, who both possess the same level cap of 30. We are able to fight either or first, so we can clear through everything between them until it's just those 2 left. Along the way was our final encounter of the run in Ritsu the Giraffe Rig. He has some nice status moves like Baton Pass at his disposal. We can also reach the Move Relearner, and someone who will give us type-reducing berries. The same rules apply for theoretical infinite uses here, since heart scales can be mined in the underground and those berries are given daily. With all that school essay filler out of the way, we'll tackle the easier of the 2 gyms in Maylene first. This battle begins with a Meditite Ditto between us. We hit the opposing one decently hard with Psychic for half damage as she raises her attack through Meditate. Suchiya then Psychics again, but this one low rolls and so fails to knock her out. We then take a boosted Drain Punch. Maylene heals now, so the next 2 turns are more Psychics to return her to the red, but we remain unharmed due to a greedy Meditate. A final Psychic defeats Meditite. Second is Machoke. We Psychic him for over half, but I don't want to stay in after having my speed lowered from Rock 2. I need to outspeed the Lucario in the back, so we switched to Teru on a Foresight. Diamond and Pearl made Hypnosis 70% accurate instead of 60%, but I still miss our first one, which is a bit dangerous since Machoke hit Teru with Leer. We stay in and easily survive a Brick Break, then put him to Betty Bye. It's now a safe switch back to Tsuchiya on Machoke's first turn to sleep, so we knock him out next turn with a Psychic. Last up is Lucario, but his Steel typing is to his downfall. One Force Palm cleanly knocks him out. Maylene is defeated, and we've obtained badge number 3, a great display of Tsuchiya's hardening Qigong. After Maylene, I felt I had been a bit too harsh on Kaito. With his Hidden Power Rock, it's his chance to shine and one-shot this Team Galactic Run's Beautifly to safely retrieve Dawn's Pokedex. Your brother was more accomplished, you worthless failure! Anyway, we should probably handle Crasher Wake next. He starts off the battle with his scary Gyarados as we lead Mob. There's a simple solution in the form of Shockwave, nailing Gyarados with a 4-time super effective attack for the one-shot. Next up is Floatzel. We stay in to strike him with Shockwave, leaving Floatzel in range for another to knock him out even after his Citrus Berry. Floatzel then uses Pursuit, which would seemingly be terrible due to our horrendous physical defense, but we have our own berry for this specific scenario. A Colbur Berry, which reduces the power of super effective dark damage, allows us to live even a critical hit. 2 more attacks after Wake's Super Potion are then capable of knocking out Floatzel. Last for this battle is Quagsire, but Mob has learned a lot from TMs, including a powerful Grass Knot coming Quagsire's way. He can't hang on from this quadruple weakness, so Quagsire falls like the rest. That's Crasher Wake defeated for our 4th gym badge. The new level cap lets Teru evolve into Bronzong, the defensive blessing of our squad, though it is a bit worrisome that Tsuchiya is just 1 level away from evolving herself, being stopped by the level cap. Let's hope that isn't an issue after our round trip back to Hearthome for our clash with Fantina. The Contest Master leads with her Drifblim as we send out Mob. I'm banking on her doing something stupid or not getting the 10% Omni boost from Ominous Wind as we set up Calm Mind, but she does do Ominous Wind. A Cassie Berry lets us survive this super effective ghost attack, so it all hinges on if Drifblim decides on revenge for what happened in the Flying Nuzlocke. Luckily, we don't suffer the consequences of our actions, allowing Mob to OHKO Drifblim with a single Shadow Ball. One use of a setup move into the defeat of the fantastical Fantina is a true combo. Miss Magius and Gengar are just too slow and both succumb to a Shadow Ball each. Who knew the Ghost Gym was going to be one of the simpler ones? We are victorious with our 5th badge. It doesn't take too long to make our arrival at Canalave City to challenge Byron, one of the easiest Sinnoh gym leaders. Our newfound physical fighting strength in Tsuchiya the Medicham can attest to that. Byron has a 0% chance at victory here. Bronzor gets cleaved by a Brick Break to start things off. This raises Tsuchiya to level 40, which is just enough to also chop through this hefty Steelix with another Brick Break. And while Bastiodon is theoretically heftier than Steelix, that quadruple fighting weakness has put this fellow in the wrong place at the wrong time, being another victim to Tsuchiya and her Brick Break. We've cleared through Byron's gym for possibly the easiest gym battle so far, gaining our 6th badge. Afterward are some Team Galactic shenanigans that I emotionally overcome thanks to our little F guy down there, ain't he cute? Kaito doesn't fight, but I am quite literally bringing an F to these battles for my opponents. Because yeah, Saturn, you're not doing anything when Teru can carry us. Gyro Ball and Psychic OHKO Kadabra and Toxicroak respectively, while we whittle Bronzor down to the ground with Hidden Power Fire. The F has been displayed for Saturn, and we have another for Mars, who isn't worth mentioning besides the fact Medicham is just so clutch. I always liked Medicham, but my Fighting-type Nuzlocke in this current one have upped it on my favorites list, and Tsuchiya will continue her fantastic beatdowns in our old yeller of a battle versus Candace. She's one of my favorite gym leaders, but she's simply suffering in the presence of Tsuchiya. Snover becomes Ash thanks to our Fire Punch, and just because you're bigger doesn't mean you'll fare much better, Abomasnow. Candace's own Medicham is 3rd out, and Tsuchiya doesn't have a super effective attack for her. Except Natural Gift, a pretty nifty physical attack. This move's power and type depend on the equipped berry. In this instance, a Greppa Berry became a 70 base power flying attack. I was admittedly not expecting Medicham to survive, but she simply bulks up and succumbs to hail damage from Snover's Snow Warning earlier. Tsuchiya is 2-0 from Meditite line mirror matches. Last is Sneasel, but she barely exists this turn when she is already gone after a Brick Break by the end of this sentence. We've obtained our 7th gym badge from Candace, who I respect for not being frigid like other ice trainers can be. Let's march onward toward the climax of Team Galactic's universal tomfoolery. Cyrus's first fight and Saturn's last aren't anything special, so I'll skip them in order to get straight to one of the toughest challenges in Gen 4, a multi-battle against Mars and Jupiter with a bag of bricks for a teammate. In Diamond and Pearl, this is especially worrisome since you rematch Cyrus right after without time to switch, so I have to plan for both boss battles simultaneously. It's not impossible though, so it's time to see how much weight I have to carry against the final hurdles before Cyrus. Mars and Jupiter lead with both their Bronzor while we lead Suchiya along with our partner Munchlax. We are aiming for Mars first since she's easier and so we can aim for a 2 versus 1. Suchiya has zero problems making her Bronzor crispy with a fire punch. If there's one good trait for being allied with Munchlax is that he'll take some of the hits. He lives in extrasensory and just screeches in return. Mars' Golbat is next, but that baddie girl is defeated in one shot, then it's an exact repeat of the last turn. What are you two doing? Anyway, Purugly is last for Mars, who gets bodied by a single Brick Break. Bronzor fights back with Rock Slide for minimal damage, and then Munchlax hits a surprisingly strong Body Slam. Only one Screech hit, so that's pretty impressive for what it is. As for the Bronzor, they did have Reflect, which could have been tricky when Golbat was out. Brick Break could have shattered it when Purugly came out, but we don't have to worry about it at all for future turns with a Brick Break knocking out Bronzor. Munchlax does it smart and buffs his defenses with Stockpile after he knew I would do the work. Up comes Skuntank though, so we swap to Teru. Teru has Heatproof instead of Levitate, which has its uses here for handling Skuntank's Flamethrower. Heatproof even prevents burns, so we're safe to attack with physical moves like Earthquake after Skuntank wastes time attacking Munchlax. While Munchlax does faint, 2 Earthquakes and a stronger ally in Staraptor more than make up for it. And for reference for how bulky we are, a critical hit Flamethrower dealt 42 damage. Teru is insane. A Psychic this turn is then enough to shoot down this final Crobat, making this a very easy win against Mars and Jupiter. But now Big Bad Cyrus is a wee bit salty. His plans were ruined by mystical pixies. He begins with his Honchkrow as Suchiya makes her comeback. She strikes fast and hard with a Thunder Punch, putting the bird down. Crobat is second, and does outspeed despite being max speed with Suchiya. We swap out to Teru on a Bite, and now it's time to commence my biggest blunder of the fight, which I'm not really sure if you could even call it that. It's just circus material here. I have a Lumberry and Rest for healing, hoping I can heal before Crobat's defeat so that Teru can also butt heads with Weavile later. However, confusion and flinches from this Crobat are the worst. 2 times as I am weakening him with Psychics do I almost lose Teru from one bad flinch or confusion hit, while still attempting to wake up from rest after our Lumberry was used. My mans could not move for multiple turns, and Cyrus healing when he was so close to being knocked out did not help. It got to the point where I ran out of rest and was forced to KO Crobat with more damage than I would have preferred. Weavile doesn't even come out next. Gyarados is third instead, and I got to think of what my outs are for living through this and Weavile. We first switch to Ritsu so that we can Thunderbolt the Serpent, but we get kinda jump scared by Giga Impact, which would have killed if it crit. This wasn't the move I thought he'd go with, but I'll use this to my advantage by now safely going into Suchiya. Then on the next turn, Gyarados flails in defeat after a Thunder Punch to the face. Last is Weavile, and a Night Slash or Ice Punch crit will kill, but I have no other options for switching. Gotta believe in 1000% Suchiya. Please aid us, mob. Just let the adults handle it. Suchiya hangs on, and can now finish off Cyrus's Weavile by delivering a Brick Break to OHKO him. Phew. That was the most stressful fight in a while. But now that Cyrus has been humiliated by Brain Power, Jimmy Neutron style, we run like a coward from Palkia and make our way to Sunyshore City for our final gym battle against Volkner. The new level cap grants Suchiya a wonderful new toy in reversal. This fighting type attack becomes stronger the lesser the user's HP is, maxing out at 200 base power when their HP is 3.13% or lower of their maximum in Generation 4. It's high risk, high reward, and we'll take it for a spin as we challenge Volkner. He doesn't have any priority moves on his electric team featuring a monkey and octopus. So just guess how this goes. If your answer was a complete reversal sweep, you were right. Volkner can't get a single move off as all 4 of his Pokemon get dropped one by one. We also had a Lumberry just in case Raichu Static activated, and it's the only thing on this team with Static. This was unlosable, but a bit anticlimactic for our 8th and final gym badge. Now we just have to make our way through Victory Road. If you've seen some of my previous Nuzlocks, it's not uncommon for something wrong to happen here. Almost like a failure road instead. We do a bit of quirky puns here. Luckily there isn't some mental derailment through my own mistakes to help keep me up at night. The most I get caught off guard is wondering if this Torterra could survive a Choice Spec Psychic, but he couldn't, meaning we can reach the Pokemon League with no issues at hand. Before the Elite Four comes our rival, but I've skipped him the whole run for a good reason. He's just so weak levels wise. Sometimes his Pokemon aren't even evolved where they would be in Platinum, meaning we clear through him in every battle. This is definitely the toughest of the fights, but Toichi keeps sending everything weak to Ritsu's Psychics or Thunderbolts. 4 of his Pokemon lost pretty badly. Then it's a simple swap to Tsuchiya when Snorlax is brought out. We brick break that after an Earthquake on the Switch. Then it's back to Ritsu on Infernape's Aerial Ace. Somehow Ritsu with 0 speed EVs is faster than Infernape, so you know this is embarrassing even considering the level advantage. Psychic breaks that monkey's brain. Very uneventful rival battles throughout the whole run, but I guess that Snorlax could have been scary. Can we get some unknown Fs in chat for Toichi? If not, it doesn't matter. Y'all will have plenty of time to present your Fs as we challenge the Elite Four. This is a pretty big moment for myself, since if everything from here on out goes right, this will be my first Deathless Nuzlocke. I spent my usual whole day thinking these fights through to be as optimal for all 5 fights as possible. Obtained items, some altered EVs, changed moves, the works. Everyone's looking tough, minus Kaito, but he's here for motivational support, and as a punching bag in case things go awry and I do need to lose a Pokemon. Either way, these are the same 6 we've always had, so it's important to me that they all make it to the end. Some underutilized teammates may have some tricks up their sleeves as well, so let's test our wit and might in this fight for the champion's belt, Deathless style. Aaron is first up, and boy is this one a breeze. His levels are much lower than the rest of the Elite Four, so me getting close to the level cap is his downfall. We lead a 1 HP Tsuchiya against his Dustox. As much as I love this guy, he's on the receiving end of a Fire Punch, knocking him out swiftly. Second is Beautifly, but Tsuchiya is a fan of repeat stories like this. Another Fire Punch it is for the KO. Next is Aaron's Ace Bug type, the Poison Dark type Dropion. He won't be weak to Fire Punch, or even Reversal, but the latter is 200 base power with Tsuchiya's max attack EVs plus pure power. Yeah, that's what I thought. Then comes Heracross, another easy OHKO with Fire Punch. Last is Vespiquen, who is bulky enough to potentially live a Fire Punch under normal circumstances. But Tsuchiya is holding a Flame Plate uncovered from the underground, which is enough to seal the deal 100% guaranteed. That's Aaron, down and out. But Bertha is up next with her ground types. She starts out with our Quagsire as we lead with Mob. Mob is holding a Choice Specs, so our Grass Knot is supercharged to knock out Quagsire in a single strike. Second up is Sudowoodo, my favorite ground type. She won't go down in one Grass Knot, and has Sucker Punch anyway for super effective priority, but this gives us a chance to actually use Mukai. She arrives on a predicted Sucker Punch, but the only sucker here is this Sudowoodo as we hit her with Yawn. As long as we don't attack, the only way Sudowoodo can hurt Mukai is through Hammer Arm, since Earthquake gets negated by our Levitate. And since she won't Earthquake, this makes it an incredibly safe switch back to Mob. Bertha plays smart by setting up a Sandstorm, but she falls asleep thanks to Yawn, giving Mob a free turn to attack. He strikes with Grass Knot, which just barely doesn't clutch the KO. Sandstorm grants Rock types a 50% boost to their special defense, but it's alright. I know Bertha will full restore this turn, so we Grass Knot again to put her back into the red. Now all we need to do is the same strat. Mukai is sent back in, this time on Earthquake. We Yawn the fake tree on a failed Sucker Punch, then swap back into Mob on a weak Hammer Arm. One more Grass Knot on the Sleepy Gal secures us the KO. Bertha's Hippowdon, Golem, and Whiscash then all suffer the same fate. And if you're curious, I kept Grass Knot on Mob this whole time since Wake just for Bertha, since there's only one TM. It really saves me the trouble of having to think this fight through. That's the second of the Elite Four defeated. Flint's our next target with his fire types, featuring a Snake, Balloon, and Deviantart. I see why you and Volkner are such good friends. You like to be funny using Pokemon not of your specialty type. That's pretty cool actually. I wish they did that more, but it doesn't save Flint here at all. Mob is able to Choice Spec Psychic through all of Flint's Pokemon, besides Steelix, who I plan to have Taro weaken to a point where Mob Psychic would KO so that he can continue his sweep. However, Flint is kind enough to just let every other Pokemon of his come out and get slaughtered by these powerful Psychics. Steelix is his last stand, so I don't even need to swap out here. And then we crit him anyway. Mob could have survived a crit Rock Tomb or Fire Fang, but this is just humorous. Poor Flint just couldn't play the game. Ah well, he's defeated, and Lucian is the last leg of the Elite Four. The battle begins with his Mr. Mime versus Mob. Mob needs to get 5 Calm Minds set up to successfully sweep, but this Mr. Mime does pose some threats. Thunderbolt still hits kinda hard despite the special defense boost, so I'm praying for 0 crits. We have Recover for healing, and a Lumberry for the off chance Thunderbolt paralyzes. Lucian does waste turns setting up Reflect and Light Screen, and attacking with Psychic for some reason. This allows us to successfully attain +5 special attack, though we have to stall Light Screen, so we go for a 6 Calm Mind and Recover until it wears off. We got a bit lucky, but Teru is a decent backup to some of Lucian's stronger Pokemon. I wasn't too worried if there were somehow 2 Thunderbolt paralyzations, and thanks to reaching level 65 5 from the previous battles, Mob can go Psycho with Shadow Balls and Psychics. Girafarig and Bronzong were the threats that needed this many Calm Minds, especially the latter. Only at this level with at least +5 special attack is when Bronzong will fall to a Shadow Ball. A bit nerve-wracking, but Lucian and the Elite Four are defeated. All that's left is one of the strongest champions in all of Pokemon. For Cynthia, there was a Pokemon I restructured EVs-wise through berries and vitamins, that being Mob, making him more specially defensive with higher HP. We're putting our brains on overtime here. It's a genius of mythology against a psychic prodigy. Let's see which of us will prevail right here, right now. Champion Cynthia begins our final battle with her Zero Weakness Spiritomb as we lead with Mob. Mob's job here is simple. He's going to reach his end goal and captivate Tsubomi so that her special attack gets lowered greatly. We're aiming for our PP stall, meaning the less damage she can deal, the better. Protect is on most of our Pokemon as well for further stalling, along with Mob's recover. And to make things somewhat easier, we Shadow Ball Spiritomb to weaken her for what I've got cooking. As for Spiritomb's moveset, it consists of Dark Pulse, Psychic, Embargo, and Silverwind. The latter's Omni Boost could pose an issue if she receives it multiple times. So we're off to a bad start. Luckily, we can just captivate her back down to -6 special attack. Once we're all set and have PP stalled as much as we could before conducting the rest of the plan, we switch out to Mukai on a Psychic. After a Protect, Mukai yawns Spiritomb, and then on the turn she will fall asleep, we set up a Light Screen. Light Clay will extend us, just to play cautious, you know? Afterward, it's a switch to the legendary staller of this mythical battle, Ritsu. He's safe to come in on Spiritomb's first turn of sleep. Then we pull a cheeky play. We utilize Skill Swap. This move trades both Pokemon's abilities with each other, so Spiritomb gets inner focus, but more importantly, Ritsu now has Pressure, which will waste double the amount of PP Spiritomb uses per move used. Having Pressure here is perfect, as if we exhausted all of our options because Spiritomb had so much PP, then we'd be in a bad position. With this, however, we can set up substitutes that she can't break easily thanks to our special attack defenses, along with Rest for healing. It gets to a point where I don't want to rest after Ritsu's Lumberry is used, so I spam Substitute until that is low on PP. But we've arrived at the point where everything falls in place. Using our last substitute, we have a very healthy shield in a worst case scenario, while Spiritomb only has Embargo left as an option. Ritsu uses his Baton Pass, shifting the tide of battle to our muscular girl, Tsuchiya. This is the end for Cynthia. While the defense boost from Silverwind allows Spiritomb to survive this Ice Punch, and the fact Cynthia heals the turn after, she does so only once, meaning several Ice Punches later, Spiritomb is back in her resting place. Cynthia sends out Roserade next, but she is too slow to accomplish anything, with an Ice Punch being enough to put her down. Up comes Gastrodon third. Despite our HP raising from these level ups, we are still in 200 base power range for reversal. That, along with a Brick Plate for more destruction, is just perfect for striking down this Sea Slug. Then it's Milotic's turn. Just like her Water-type sister, a reversal is an effortless one-shot. Cynthia's 5th Pokemon is Lucario. To play as safe as possible, we attack with Drain Punch, healing a stupid amount of HP back as Lucario's life fades away from this super effective hit. And finally, it's the Garchomp that has terrorized so many people in their youth. Tsuchiya, however, laughs in the face of her opponent. Leveling up from the battle with Aaron alone made her faster than this thing, allowing her to pull out the 5th punch, an Ice Punch, freezing over the quadruple weak Dragon Shark in one quick and clean blow. That's it. That's the run. Cynthia is defeated. And I am psyched to have done so deathless. Let's go! What a fun time that was. As is always the case with these Nuzlocks. Something I learned for this run is just how frail most of my Pokemon were, having to rely on ways to sweep through teams with one Pokemon as opposed to switching out. I think this is because Psychic only resists fighting and Psychic itself, meaning Bronzong was the only reliable switch thanks to its steel typing and defensive stats. That makes me even happier to have this be deathless, since I was able to manage despite that huge weak point. Though a huge factor for our success was definitely the dynamic duo of Mob and Tsuchiya. They carried quite a bit, while Teru was able to help when defense was required. Though, it was also nice to see Mukai and Ritsu assist near the end with their unique traits. And then Kaito's body shape speaks for itself. But overall, it was fun smashing through stuff with Alakazam and Medicham. Still crazy how it wasn't even set up strats against Cynthia. Really just needed a safe switch to my Medicham after weakening Spiritomb a bit so she could sweep the rest of Cynthia through her base stats alone. I could have sacked anyone if I really wanted to, but I didn't want to. I wanted that 0 deaths, baby! Anyway, thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe for more Nuzlocks such as these, if you so wish. The support is always appreciated, hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.